Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you with us. Today, we are actually interviewing Dr. Piotr Witkowski. He is the director of pancreatic islet transplantation. He also leads the Polish American Transplant Center as well. He is the leading expert in islet, kidney, pancreas transplantation, and he is also, most notably for today's call, in charge of the Eledon clinical trial, which is creating a functional cure for type 1 diabetes. So, Dr. Witkowski, thank you so much for joining us. This is on behalf of the Silverstein Dream Foundation. We are raising money for more patients to be transplanted in this trial. So tell us a little about the Eledon trial and give us kind of a bird's eye overview of what the trial is and what the goal is.
First of all, thank you very much for having me, and thank you very much to you and the Silverstein Foundation for providing support for our research and help for patients with type 1. So, as you said, my research focus has been related to therapy and treatment and eventually cure for type 1 diabetes. So, what we offer now, we offer pancreatic islet transplantation. It's a minimally invasive procedure with the cells which we retrieve from deceased donors and infuse in the patient liver in order to reverse diabetes. We can do it. We've been doing this for years. We've been optimizing this procedure for years. The main problem, however, is that the patient needs to take anti-rejection medication daily. For today, it's forever, in order to prevent those islets from rejection. The same way as transplanted organs are protected by the same medication from the rejection. And those medication, they unfortunately have side effects. There are some side effects which can occur daily, or they can develop over time in the long term, compromising the kidney function, causing the high blood pressure, and they also toxic to the islets itself. So the goal of our research is to develop alternative therapy, something which is as effective but much less toxic. And we've been looking for different medication. We've been testing different medication, and we couldn't find it for the last 20 years until now. So now we have a new medication, tegoprubart, which we've been testing in 12 patients, and the results are very, very promising. Patients do not have typical side effects related to immunosuppression, and this medication is as effective as tacrolimus so far, as a previous medication. So far, all 12 patients reverse diabetes, and what's important, they don't have any signs of rejection on losing the islets graft. And then and the patient can enjoy daily life without much side effects. So this is exciting. This is a big improvement. And now our goal is to continue the study, in order for this medication to be approved by the FDA as a standard therapy, and it can be reimbursed and used for many more patients, which we could help. I would like also to add that based on the animal studies, this medication is unique because it is immunosuppressive medication, but the way it works is a bit different. It modulates the immune system, and we hope that if we enhance this effect, this medication may help us to develop situation where we will be able to stop immunosuppression altogether. Of course, we are not there yet, but based on the animal studies, there is potential for them. So for today, the goal is to prove that this is safe and effective in the short and long term in higher number of patients, to get a license so we can continue helping more patients and accelerate our studies, so it can be approved, and towards the cure of diabetes, which we all aim for.
Absolutely. Okay, so all 12 patients have been taken off insulin. I can personally attest to that. The first one being off insulin almost 2 years. So if this is so successful, explain to people why every type 1 diabetic out there isn't already receiving this treatment. Even if it got FDA approved tomorrow, what are the hurdles that still exist before other people can experience this?
Right. So as you mentioned, today the first part, the procedure, islet transplantation, is still not available to patients in the United States because of the current regulations. Islets has been regulated as a drug, and this was the major problem to introduce this therapy as a standard of care. We experts in the field has been advocating to adjust the regulations so islets could be regulated as any other organ for transplant. And then together with Breakthrough T1D, we already approached the HHS and FDA to look into this and adjust the regulations. So as you said, once the regulations are adjusted, an islet transplantation procedure can be available and reimbursed to any type 1 patient. We still cannot offer it to everyone because of the side effects of anti-rejection medication, because of side effects of immunosuppression, which has been problematic and compromising in the short term and the long term. So that's why islet transplantation has been offered only to the most desperate patients, those whose life was severely compromised, the best efforts, those who has hypoglycemia unawareness, and because of this, they don't feel when the sugar goes down and they experience severe hypoglycemic episodes, the lows which they cannot control and they dangerous for their life because when they happen, those severe lows, when they happen in the middle of the night, patient may never wake up. Or if it happens when they drive a car, they may have seizure and they may crash the car, they can die. So those patients, they live in constant fear of sudden death. They develop anxiety, depression. So these are the patients we've been helping so far. Because for those patients, side effects of immunosuppression were kind of justified because we helping them and preventing more serious complications. Now, with the new medication, when they are less toxic and more friendly to the patients, we could offer this therapy to more patients. Of course, not to everyone, and of course, we've been asked, and everybody is hoping that we can help children. Not yet, because children are those who will need to take this anti-rejection medication for whole life, and it has potential serious side effects like skin cancer or serious infection or some blood type of disease. So it's not for children for sure yet. Even if tegoprubart is approved today, it's not for children yet. But as I said, this is just the beginning. Once we have it approved and available, we can test, we can optimize it even more and towards the cure, the situation when we can use islet transplantation without immunosuppression. And today we're using cadaveric islets. We isolate islets from deceased donor, and the number of the donors is not sufficient to treat any patients with type 1 diabetes. But we know that. But in parallel, there is research, as you know, and everybody is aware, towards developing the islet transplantation, but islets are developed in the laboratory from the stem cells. And if this happens, and if these cells are safe and effective, they can be provided in unlimited amount to any patients. So two things needs to happen. The stem cell derived islet transplantation needs to be developed, optimized, and safe and effective. And then we need to learn how we can transplant them without immunosuppression for every type 1 patients with type 1 to benefit in the future. But we need to go step by step. So the next step is to have islet transplantation approved as a standard of care and continue our trial with tegoprubart and combining this with different medication or reducing the medication.
No, that makes sense. One question that I get all the time is how did you choose the 12 patients that end up being a part of the trial? You touched on the hypoglycemia unawareness. So these are patients that you've mentioned all have that extra risk factor. What are some of the other medical criteria for the 12 that you've chosen?
Right. So this is a clinical trial. The protocol of the study of the therapy is well defined and is approved by FDA and ethics committee at University of Chicago. And there are specific inclusion and exclusion criteria, which every patient need to meet the inclusion and has no exclusion criteria. So For today, it's as we said, it's only for adults, so the age between 18 and 65. Today, in the current trial, in those 12 patients, they need to have uh, good kidney function, not compromised kidney function. They need to have the hypoglycemia unawareness and experience severe hypoglycemic episodes despite the best treatment. So today it's just for desperate patients. So these are the main ones. There is many more specific. For example, um, because it's just the beginning. So we offering to those patients who has higher chance of benefit. So for example, patients who had previous transplant or blood transfusion or what we call it, they get sensitized during the pregnancy or delivery, they develop antibody against other people, they have higher chance of rejection. And today we don't offer this therapy, this participation in the study yet. But again, once we progress and see the same promising results, it can be extended. And as example, we are about to open a new trial for 10 patients who already has some kidney dysfunction. So we are already progressing, including more patients with more advanced disease in order to see if we reversing diabetes, we can stop the progress of the kidney damage or even reverse it. So this is just example of the progress which we're making.
Absolutely. Okay, Deborah, I know you have some questions for Dr. Witkowski as well.
Yeah, so Dr. Witkowski, Katie Beth Han is patient number 9 and now serves as ambassador for our gala. So, what about her journey best represents what's possible for millions of people living with type 1 diabetes?
So I think Kathy has done amazing job. Suddenly start getting many phone calls and emails asking for the trial. Yes, Kathy represents all 12 patients. They all doing so well. They don't have diabetes now, and they don't have much side effects. So to them, this is the cure. Although from the medical perspective, from our perspective, it's not a full cure for the surgeon is when we remove, for example, gallbladder surgically. Gallbladder is gone. There is no way patient will have problems with gallbladder ever again. Here, yes, we call it functional cure. So patients don't have diabetes anymore. There is technically always a risk that there might be problems, there might be rejection, there might be recurrence of diabetes. But today, patients do not have diabetes. They don't have to worry about everything they've been worried whole life about highs and lows, adjusting the dose and thinking about what they're gonna do, what they're gonna eat, when they're gonna eat, and all those challenges which we are fully aware patients have every day. And so all of this it's gone, and Kathy is the best example, and she is being very honest and vocal about it, and so people can learn. Yes.
Thanks. So, if funding and donor supply and resources were unlimited, how quickly do you think this could be scaled?
Oh, if if resources are unlimited, then we need to finish the trial for the next 40 patients, which can be done very quickly, and then and get the license, and then continue our research. But again, the unlimited resources, it will be much more efficient if islet transplantation it's approved, because then the cost of the islet transplantation will be covered by the insurance. And we do help patients. This is not any more experimental procedure everywhere else in Canada, Europe, Australia. It's a standard of care alternative to whole pancreas transplantation, supported already for many years by the government, by the health system in those countries. So it is experimental in the United States, but from the scientific perspective, it's not experimental. We accomplished all this phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials for islet transplantation with the standard immunosuppression, and we proved that this is safe and effective and can benefit selected patients. So this is what we're asking for, to have it approved and then we can offer this to many more patients in many centers. Today, we are practically one of the few centers in the country who offers this procedure. But if this is reimbursed, it can be offered in many transplant centers in the country at the same time, and the progress will be much faster.
That's promising. So, if donor families could see the lives that they've changed through islet donation, what would you want them to know?
Right. So for us, as I said, we're looking for support today for the next three patients so we can accelerate the progress, specifically for licensing for tegoprubart. And then in the background, our goal has been always to convince the administration to adjust the regulations. And now we're working together with Breakthrough T1D, the organization which is well connected with our government, and I know, and they took over the lead on the advocacy for a regulatory adjustment, and we hope that this will happen as soon as possible.
So, what can every person who's watching this interview do to help bring this treatment to more patients faster?
Well, as I said, we're looking for support, financial support, to continue helping our patients and without delay. Because today we can continue. It's not reimbursed. It's not available. So we need financial support to continue for few more patients, but to accelerate the progress and the licensing of the new medication. For example, also with tegoprubart, we've been testing this in combination with one medication. We now about to start testing this with another medication and see that it might be even better, and maybe the dose might be reduced. So we need funding to continue this progress and improvement.
Thank you.
How many people, Dr. Witkowski, do you currently have that you know of that have reached out just to you and your team at U Chicago? How many people do you currently have waiting for a
Right.
procedure like
So
this?
as I said, as soon as people became aware about the progress, we've been approached by many people. So what we have on our website, there is a questionnaire. So we're collecting patient information, and then we store them. And as soon as we have any spots available, we look for the patients who meet the criteria. So today we have over 1,200 patients on the list actively asking for this therapy. I'm sure I mean, and the list is growing. The list is just growing. Recently, last week, we provided the update during the ADA. It was 1,200 before ADA. I'm sure there is much more. There's much more patients. And also not only the States, and the international patients are approaching, but we can help them today. So we are focused on patients who are living in the United States.
Yeah, I'm one of the 1,200.
We
Well,
wish we can help everyone. We really would like to help everyone. And my colleagues, transplant surgeons from other centers, they used to do islet transplantation, but again, because of the system of regulations, they had to, and lack of reimbursement, they have to close. And we're losing time and experience. This is very unfortunate, and it's been frustrating to us. There were 10 centers in the United States performing this procedure. All of them are closed now. There is one more thing which I'd like to add,
yes.
which I forgot to mention. There is, in general, most of the people think that islets, yes, they can work only for a few years. We have a patient who is off insulin after islet transplantation for 20 years. So the islets do have potential to work for a very long time and reverse diabetes and help patients. We just need sufficient effective new immunosuppression to provide it in the safe way. So I'd like to highlight this. This is just not for a year or two. This might be, and we have other patients over 10 and 15 years of insulin. It can work for a long time.
I
Thank
have
you.
one more question. So you mentioned all these other countries that have been doing hundreds of these. They're doing the transplants, but they're still on the toxic immunosuppressants.
Yes.
So they don't have the tegoprubart.
They don't have tegoprubart, right? So the most toxic is tacrolimus, which is also the most effective. But I combine it with another medication available, belatacept, which allows me to lower the dose of tacrolimus to minimize the side effects. So this is working. I've been testing this in 15 patients, and they all have no diabetes and doing much better than previous patients. So there is space for optimization, but no matter what I do, it's never going to be as good as tegoprubart. Yeah, tegoprubart is just us. Yes. We would like to do at least 3 more patients now with our funding, with own funding, before Eledon is ready to open in their own trial. All the patients which we already transplanted and they are under our trial now, they will be included in the Eledon trial. And this is the idea that they will take over. They will include those patients and continue under the umbrella of Eledon trial. They will not start from 0. They will start from number 16, and they will take over the data and show it to FDA at the end of the trial.
I think it's beyond what we understand of importance, Dr. Witkowski, because the need is urgent, the demand is there, the progress is real, it's remarkable, the results we're seeing. Katie Beth is a living example of this progress, and we need as many support and advocates as possible to this project. And this is a call to action from the Silverstein Dream Foundation and for many institutions and organizations that want to partner up with us today. And I want to thank Deborah, Katie, Dr. Witkowski for believing in the future, in the progress of this trial, and everybody else who is belonging to this mission. We thank you in advance. This is the future of the cure.
Again, I'd like to thank all of you and everything you're doing. This is amazing, and I'm happy to work together to make it happen.
Thank you. Such an honor to meet you.
Thank you very much.